Welcome back. Episode 81. Here we are. So grateful to be here again on the podcast. If you are new here, so grateful to have you, whether you're new or returning. But essentially, this podcast is a place where I'm lucky enough to sit down with real people who tell their true stories about how they have overcome adversity and are currently overcoming adversity. I know we all have it in different forms. So, with that, I would like to introduce my next guest, Adrienne. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, hi. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to just share my story and hopefully I can help others with,
Yeah.
inspiration.
Yeah, absolutely. And if when this goes live, the show notes will be there. So right now, if you're curious, any resources, Adrienne's Instagram, ways to get in touch with her, we're going to hear her story. But you can always check out the resources down below at any time. So Adrienne, we got connected via Instagram and actually via my friend Jade.
Yeah. Jade used to date my cousin like in 1990.
Amazing. Oh, I love this. I'm gonna have to text her after and be like, so
Yeah, it was like they were like teenagers. I don't know.
okay, got
Yeah.
it. So that was the connection. She was like, "Oh, you have to talk to Adrienne," and so we've been trying to connect for a while, and I'm so glad that we finally have. And I'm gonna stop talking pretty soon because I think the real reason people are here is to hear true stories from my guests. And
Yeah.
so, Adrienne, I know you are working as a grief recovery specialist
Yeah.
right now, but which is a beautiful, beautiful role, and I'll let you talk about that. But I'm just going to kind of rewind and let you talk about where your journey began, wherever you'd like to start, really.
Okay, sure. So I guess I would like to start with, I just kind of have always had not the best luck. So I started out, I was a teenage mom. I had my son when I was 17.
Okay.
So, I chose to have him as a single mother. And I always had this kind of independent streak of, I don't want help from anyone. I can do it on my own. So I got student loans, had my own little apartment, went to get my bachelor's of science while I was single mom to my son. Um, and then, I had my daughter. I got married, not to the father, when Kyler was about 5. And then got married, had my daughter, had a very tumultuous relationship with a narcissist. You know.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, you had hinted at that, and that's all you got to say for me to be sorry.
Yeah, because I see that you have that topic is so I have a lot of experience with those actually. But so
Mm,
yeah, so once I got my education, I started making more money than him. He didn't like that.
right.
So, then it just became very toxic. So, we got divorced when my daughter was about 5. And then so I was working as a psychiatric nurse. I've always worked with children.
Okay.
So I was doing an inpatient psychiatric nursing position, working with children and youth. Uh, then, lo and behold, I find another narcissistic guy, or they find me, I think is how it works.
Yes, they're very predatory.
Yeah. So then, I thought it was all good at the beginning. And then was it a couple years? Maybe, yeah, a couple years into our relationship, my daughter got diagnosed with AML. No, well, first my son started, he was 12, and he started experimenting with drugs. And very quickly, I could tell he was an addict. Like it went from 0 to 1,000.
Yeah.
So I pulled him out of school. I homeschooled him. I got him all the supports in place. I quit my job. The narcissist was happy to pay for things during that time.
Yeah. It's a form of control. Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
my daughter, so Kyler, I supervised him every day for about 6 months straight. I didn't not leave him out of my sight, homeschooled him, got him all the supports. He started a brand new school. And literally the first week of him starting the brand new school, Mackenzie got diagnosed with cancer. So, um,
Hmm.
Yeah.
For sure.
So, and then she was kind of complained. She had a sore arm. I took her to the ER and they kind of gave us Tylenol, told us to go home. And then it didn't really let up. And then, yeah, so we got diagnosed in the emergency room, at 3 in the morning on a Friday night. And so then the type of cancer she had, AML leukemia, the treatment is very, like, you're in the hospital. You're not,
I know
you're
it.
not,
Yeah.
yeah.
I know AML.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we lived there and my son, of course, relapsed and started getting in trouble and was fighting with my partner, the narcissist. And then I had him go live with my mom because I couldn't supervise him because I was living in the hospital. And then,
Yeah.
when Mackenzie was sick, I wasn't working. My partner at the time lost his job, and then his wife his ex-wife took him to court for alimony and all this stuff. And then, so me being the ever empath, I would sleep at one hospital with my daughter and pick up shifts at the other hospital. And then I would sign my checks over for him to pay his ex alimony. In hindsight, I wouldn't have done that again, but
Sure. Sure.
in the moment I did that. So then, eventually when she got out, she was in full remission. Things were going good. Kyler my son had ended up actually getting kicked out of my mom's house, and he was with we were in the hospital for like 9 months straight, basically. So then he ended up at his other grandparents' house. And then finally, when she got well and got home, he was a disaster. So we actually had to have him like court ordered to rehab.
Yeah.
He was 15 at the time. So
Okay.
we did that. And then I pulled some strings with some of the doctors I work with in child psychiatry. So we got him into like more a mental health rehab program. So he went there for 6 months. He came home on the weekends.
Mm-hmm.
He was doing really well. We bought a new big fancy house, and he came home and everything was pretty good for maybe a couple years. And then my husband, who liked to buy the fanciest, most expensive things ever, lost his job. And then it was really stressful. So then I did what I do. And at that time, I was working in the ER, doing the mental health crisis for the youth in the emergency
Yeah.
rooms. I
Okay.
just like 60 hours a week to pay for everything while he was unemployed. And then, I don't know, we got into a text fight one day, and then he took all our savings and fled the country. He, he,
Oh, I can't hear you. You froze? Can you hear me? Let's see here. Oh,
sorry,
oh, there we
there,
go.
yeah,
Can you hear me now?
yeah.
Okay,
So,
cool. I think it cut off with you you were working in the ER.
yeah,
Okay.
I was working in the ER like 60 hours a week. We got into a text fight one day. I came home, he was gone. He didn't take anything. He took his passport, nothing else. And I just thought he would stay at a friend's or whatever. And then he sent me a text message saying I'm gone. And then all his cell phone and email and everything was disabled. Part of me thought he jumped off a bridge or something. And
Yeah.
then I didn't really hear from him. And then that was in July. And then with Dave not being home, Kyler spiraled really badly with his addiction because he was also 18. He's old enough to buy liquor. So that didn't help.
Yeah.
So then he was, I was paying all for all these fancy cars in this house, and Kyler was, having all these dangerous people. So I had to ask him to leave again.
Yeah.
And then shortly after that, Mackenzie relapsed again with her cancer. Um, I still didn't know where Dave was. I couldn't get his name on. His name was on everything. I couldn't do anything about that. So I was just like, well, we had to move to another city for her treatment. So I just thought, well, I guess I'm going, and if I go bankrupt, I go bankrupt, and I had to
Yeah.
go, right? So we went, and it was like a miracle. Like I had friends who had fundraisers for me, and I had my sister's friend rented my house when I was gone.
Amazing.
So like it was like a miracle, like that I didn't go
Yeah.
bankrupt.
People
And then
stepped in, just people. That's amazing.
Yeah, no, it was like a miracle. And then she, it was really rough when we were in Calgary. She almost died. I don't know how many times. She was really sick. Um, it was horrible. But eventually she did get well enough to come home. So then we came back to Edmonton, and then Dave's sister, my ex,
Mhm.
she heard about, because we're Facebook friends or whatever. So she saw that we were what we were going through. So she somehow tracked him down. Apparently he went to Vietnam. I thought he was going to retire there forever on our 20 grand or 30 grand or whatever he took. And then, so he did come back. We did get legally divorced. I was able to sell the house and everything, and things were pretty good. Kyler was not good. He was like running wild in the streets. Mackenzie was good for a little bit. And then her transplant, they said that her bone marrow was empty. So then we had to go get another top up, stem cells. And then she, was good for a little while, and then she got graft versus host disease, which is very rare complication, and it just ravaged her body. Like, so my life for about 2 years in her life was, we were in the ER. She was having the surgery. She was admitted. She was in and out. Like, it was like a revolving door. And I was working at the same hospital where she would be at, so I would go to the hospital with her in the ER overnight, and then just stay and work my shift with no sleep because I had no options at the time. So
Wow.
we did that for a couple years. I ended up moving in with another narcissist, and then
Oh, it's okay. You know, you
what do you do? And then yeah, one day she actually had a Halloween party for the guy I was living with. He had young children, and she was very much a mother hen kind of thing. So she had this awesome Halloween party. She was so weak. I remember we went to Dollarama and went to buy this stuff for the party. She like fell over in the aisle because she was just so weak. But she did this awesome Halloween party for these kids. She had scary stories. She decorated the house. She did crafts with them. She made all the goodies. And then um, at the end of the Halloween party, she's like, "Mom, I need to go to the ER." And then she's having trouble breathing. So then I just said, "Well, we have an appointment first thing in the morning. Just stay home. We'll go first thing in the morning." And then when she went that next day, um, the doctor had said to her, "Mackenzie, when kids are sick like you, sometimes their heart stops. And if your heart stops, do you want us to stick a tube down your throat and pound on your chest?" She said no. And then I called her dad, and we agreed that like she suffered too much, and if that was the case, then we wouldn't revive her. And then she was gone in 10 days after that party. Um, and then my son at the time was, I think he was on crystal meth. He'd been raped. He'd been, beaten. It was a really bad state of affairs. So then I got him out of the place he was living in, and got him a room for rent, got him all new clothes. It's like, you never have to go back to that place. You can't come home, because I was living with that guy. It's like, you can't come home. Like, you got to get yourself cleaned up, and then we'll figure something out. And then on her service, he tried to commit suicide. Uh, like after that, but it didn't work. I think because his body was so used to all the drugs. And then 4 months after that, not even 4 months, she died November 1st. My father called me January 27th. "I have leukemia." I was like, "What?" Like, what? Like, this is a joke. And he had the same leukemia Mackenzie had. He had AML leukemia. Um, and then my sister, who had just moved to BC, she had come back, and she was like, "You just dealt with this with Mackenzie. You can't do it with dad. Like, I'll come and I'll help." So my dad was taking care of my grandfather, who had dementia. And then, so my sister came back to Edmonton to help with the appointments and that kind of thing. And the interesting thing, before he got diagnosed, he said to me, "Mackenzie's talking to me." And I was like, "What?" I was like, my dad had bipolar disorder. So I thought, oh, maybe you need your meds adjusted. But right before
Sure.
he got diagnosed, he was like, "She's talking to me. She's talking to me." And then after he got sick, he said she would talk to him and say, "Papa, you did the easy treatment. I did the hard treatment. You're a wimp. Like he would tell me, like she was talking to him. And then, within 6 weeks of diagnosis, he got an infection and passed away. So I lost my daughter and my father in a 4-month period. And then I was working because the narcissist I was living with, nobody gets a free ride. Everyone has to pay their way. So he pressured me. So I went back to work pretty quick after Mackenzie died. So then I was stuck with I have another narcissist in the story. Then I was stuck, taking care of my grandfather. I was the only person that lived in Edmonton. My grandfather was the sweetest man alive. He, gave everyone the shirt off his back. He was a great guy. So I called my dad's sister who lived in the States. It's like, you need to come. He needs to get put in a home. He's got dementia. Like, I can't do this. I'm working full time. I just lost these people. You need to come help. So she came up to Edmonton, and I think she thought she would be in control of all his finances. But my grandfather knew how she was. Also, she's a narcissist. So he made it that it was me and her together as the power of attorney and everything. Yeah. So I think she came thinking she could just do whatever she wanted. And then she realized she couldn't. And then I said, well, he needs to go into a home. He can't live by himself. I can't take care of him. And she just looked at me one day and said, I'm not the person who takes care of my demented grandfather. And she just booked a ticket and left. So here I am working full time, living with this guy who's expecting me to cook dinner every night and take care of his kids, taking care of my grandfather. My father just died. My daughter just died. And then my son was running the streets. So then I kept calling ambulances to come take him to the hospital. And then the pandemic hit. So I called an ambulance like quite regularly, and they wouldn't take him because of the pandemic. So then, I was doing that, and then my son would go and stay there sometimes. And then my aunt came to town once around Thanksgiving, and at the time my son was clean, and she basically slammed the door in his face, wouldn't let him use the phone, wouldn't let him get his meds, and was just like, you're not welcome here, go away. So she kicked him out on Thanksgiving, and then she flew back to Arizona, and then, eventually the ambulance did take him to the hospital, and where I had to say, I can't, I can't take care of him. So then he eventually got into a home from the hospital, and then within 6 weeks he died again. So then, I called my aunt and was like, I did all the hard work. I did all the meal prep. I did all the appointments. I did all the, took him for haircuts. Like, you can do the funeral. So, but I still had to do his house. He lived there for 50 years. So I had to, during the pandemic by myself, clean out this house and sell the house and all that jazz. And then shortly after that, the guy I was living with told me he wanted me to take my daughter's photos down because they made him sad.
Oh, wow. That's not supportive at all.
Yeah.
That's not what you need to hear when you're grieving.
Right. So then I bought a condo, moved out.
Yeah.
I got some inheritance from my dad and my grandpa, so I left him, obviously. And then Kyler had gone to rehab. So he had come to me during the pandemic. He's like, Mom, I'm ready to go to rehab. But then because of the pandemic, the rehab was shut down.
Oh, right.
So then it was like putting out fires, putting him in Airbnb, putting him in a hotel, picking him up at the ER, until they finally had a spot for him. So then he did go to rehab, and he did well. And then he hooked up with some girl, which you're not supposed to do in rehab. But
that's what they say, right? And I yeah.
So then sorry.
No,
Sorry.
I was just saying, that's, it's tough. Emotions are high. Everybody's trying to get well. And yeah, you probably at that point are encouraged to focus on yourself, right?
Yeah.
Things happen. Yeah.
So we met this girl, and initially, it was good. They were sober, but then they relapsed together.
Yeah.
And I had already moved to my condo by myself, and then she called me and she said she had to do CPR on him. You disappeared. Oh,
Oh, you're there now?
yeah.
Okay, sorry, something I moved the thing. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah. She called me and she said he overdosed and she had to do CPR and he was in the hospital. And the people at the hospital said he would need dialysis because he had damaged his body so much and all this other jazz. So I was waiting because it was a small town. He was supposed to be airlifted to some hospital in the city. I was waiting and waiting and waiting, and nobody ever called me. And then when I called the hospital, they said, "Oh no, he left." And I was like, "What? I thought he needed dialysis." So I tracked him down, and I was like, "Okay, I can't lose both my kids. You're coming home." So he came home. He started the methadone program, and he was still like using other substances. I had to call the police on him a few times. Like he came after me once, and I had to lock myself in the like. It was pretty. Initially, it was really difficult. And then, one time after I had him removed and told the police to take him to the homeless shelter, he's like, "Okay, mom, like I can't be down here. I'll die down here. Like I'm willing to try something different." So then he went on a different treatment. He went on Suboxone.
Okay.
And then it was like those relapses were like lesser and lesser. And he was clean. He was coming to the gym with me. He got a part-time job. One day he said to me, "Mom, I think I want to go to college." And I was like, "What? Really? Like you've been struggling since grade 7. I never even thought you'd get through high school." But so then he applied to be an addictions counselor and he got funding and he was doing the work and he was getting straight A's and it was fantastic. It was awesome. I never thought I'd see him like that.
Wow.
So then he started I can't remember when he started, but a few months after I was like, "Okay, you're 25. Like you need to learn some independence." So
Yeah.
like, "I'm going to get you a room for rent. Um, you're always welcome to come home. You can come home every weekend. I'll take you
Mhm.
shopping, but like you need to learn,
It's
how to be."
individual. Yeah, it's a good
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So the first room for rent he had, he, he was there for 6 days. And then he calls me in the middle of the night. He's like, "Mom, the place is, my house is on fire." I was like, "Oh God." I was like, "What did you do? What did you do?" And he's like, "Honestly, Mom, it wasn't me." So because I assumed it was him, right? And then I got there, it wasn't him. And the house like burnt to the ground. He had nothing. It was like Christmas time and he had nothing. The only thing
Jeez.
that survived was his bong. So I was like, "Well, I guess you're coming home again." So he came home again. I got donations of clothing from people because he had everything was gone. I had to buy him a new laptop, and we just kind of laughed about. That's the one thing I can say about going through all this shit. I'm always able to laugh at the situation. Like,
Yes. And
yeah, like
and
his dad gave him these clothes from like the 90s, like that were in storage somewhere, and like I just like I'd be like, "You look so silly. Like this
like
is
you
how."
just find the laugh in it. Like,
Totally, yeah, totally. Like we laughed so hard at his outfits, but I'm glad that happened because we had a great Christmas that year. My mom had come up from BC and he was sober. He was like cutting vegetables. He was like helping decorate. Like it was very wholesome and it was lovely.
yeah.
And so then that was December. And then February, he started dating this girl who I knew was no good. And I was like, "I don't want to deal with this. Like, you're going to get another room for rent." So I got him a room for rent by the U of A with a bunch of other students. And then he was still doing really well. And then February 28th, I kind of joked. I was like, "Oh, you've lasted a whole month at a place without getting kicked out. Like, good for you. Don't go celebrating." And I think he did go celebrating because he was on the train and he had been drinking and he lipped off a teenage gang. And so they beat him. There was about 8 of them and they beat him pretty badly. The beating lasted, I don't know, 30 minutes.
Oh.
And when the police were waiting at the other train stop to intervene, Kyler refused to go to the emergency room because he hates hospitals because his sister died in the hospital. So, and they delete all the footage of the trains. within 24 hours. So, and all the guys had bandanas covering their face like this. So they were young though. I don't even think they were of age, but so then a few days, for the next 6 days or so, he would say, because he died on March 9th, he'd be like, he would go to the ER for help, say, I can't breathe. He'd say, Mom, I think I have COVID. I can't breathe. My chest hurts. And they'd kick him out because they thought he was looking for drugs because he has an addict history. So he did 3 different emergency room visits and he went to his GP and they all just kept sending him home. So then on March 8th, he sent me a text. He said, I don't know. They sent me home. I don't know why I'm in so much pain. But they sent me home and I'm home now. And of course, they stole his phone and when they attacked him. So he said, okay, Mom, can you get me a new SIM card? And my girlfriend's got an old phone I can use, whatever. So I said, yeah, I'm tired. I'll bring it tomorrow. And then that was about 7 p.m. on March 8th. And at March 9th at 9 o'clock in the morning, I saw a message on Facebook saying, rest in peace, Kyler. So the girlfriend he had was on the methadone program and she had given him, she's not supposed to have it. She's supposed to be supervised taking it, but she didn't. She cheeked it. So she gave him some methadone and then a fake Percocet that had fentanyl in it. And when I went to the home, the police were there. It was a homicide investigation. They wouldn't let me see him. And then, yeah, that was that.
Gosh, I'm so sorry.
So that was like 2018 to 2023, so 5 years.
So gosh, you've both of your kids.
My
And
father, my grandfather,
and your,
and my uncle. I didn't even put my uncle in the book because I was like, people won't even believe this. Because then my uncle lived here, and I'm the only one that lives in Edmonton, and then he got lung cancer. So then I was doing the visits, and I finally put a boundary down, and I was like, I can't do this. Like I can visit him once a week. That's all I can manage. So I did do that, once a week kind of thing. But yeah.
well, I know, and I could say I'm sorry over and over, and I know you are obviously a grief recovery specialist, but I just want to take a minute and just ask you how you're doing. I mean, are
I'm doing really good right now, actually. But it was not easy.
uh,
I mean, I did all the things because I'm a mental health therapist, right? So I did
yeah,
so much therapy on my own. I went on meds, like
yeah,
I the meditation, like
yeah,
what really was helpful actually is my job. I had I got to cover off another position, so
yeah,
I had an office to myself and I was based and it was quiet, so I was alone all the time. So I
mm,
just did so many meditation like
yeah.
YouTube things and like manifestation, and that's when I wrote my book because I had nothing to do at work.
Yes,
So
you just
so
threw
that
yourself into the healing of like,
yeah, it was like I have all this time, nobody's watching over my back. I can yeah.
and as a mother, I just, I'm sending you so much love and prayers and care right now. And I just commend you again for like when you were telling the story about your daughter, Mackenzie. How old was she when she passed?
She was 15.
15. Uh, Again, I'm so sorry. And I actually knew two people who had it's acute myeloid leukemia,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah. One when I was in high school, one of my friend's moms passed away from AML. And then one of my neighborhood dads did as well, AML.
yeah.
And so I'll never forget that when you said, yeah. And it's I'm sure anyone listening right now, it can relate if you've been through watching somebody. It's very difficult to go through that. Do you remember how you were able to power through that as a mother, like when you were working those shifts? And then how did you get through that period? Obviously, you got through it, but do you remember how?
I drank a lot of wine, and
Like,
I had a psychiatrist friend who gave me a heavy dose of sleeping pills so I could sleep, because I'd sleep at the hospital, but everything's binging and bonging and whatever. So, I mean, like
Oh, yeah.
that's what I did. And then also I was just very much like, I was super stubborn, like we can't lose her. It's not an option. It's not an option. It's not. So family would say, "Do you want us to come down?" And I'd say, "No. If you come down, that means she's not going to make it. Like you can't. No. Like you can't come because that means something's bad. So I'm just going to do it by myself." And her dad did come. He came on the weekends to kind of spin me off, but it was she was so sick that I remember once she had like her mouth sores were so bad, like her lips were completely black. She had every infection you could possibly imagine, but she couldn't take anything to bring the fever down because of she couldn't have anything orally. And so I remember just laying awake all night, like putting cold cloths to get it down, get it down, get it down. And then she had an infection in her central line. So they had to take it out, and they couldn't intubate her because of the sores down her throat. And I remember just going there being positive, like, come on, Mac, like we can do this. So then when they did the surgery, they couldn't put her out. So they just really like drugged her. But I remember the two our nurses coming in and seeing the shape she was in. They're like, "Oh, we're gonna go get a blanket," and then they left. And when they came back in, they both had been crying, like it was it. They said that she had the worst case of mucositis that Calgary Children's Hospital has ever seen in 30 years or something. So she suffered, like that poor girl suffered, but she was so resilient, like up until the end. Like she was still raising money for kids with cancer. She would like on her day passes, she'd go and feed the homeless. Like she was just
Oh, she's like
really an amazing. Hmm.
amazing woman.
Hmm.
Well, and I know it's not easy to look back on those times. So thank you for like being open and sharing that. And but what came to mind for me is, and I'm sure you're not going to take you seem like someone who might not take this compliment, but it sounds like she had a very strong mother by her side, and like
Yeah.
sitting with her in your presence must have been a form of love and comfort despite that suffering, to have your mom right there with you.
Yeah. And I feel like she lived as long as she did from sheer willpower, because she was an Aries and she was super driven. And she used to always say, my mom, she's a warrior princess. She never gives up, because she could see like, what I was going through. I was like, okay, we're just packing the car and we're going, and maybe we'll come back and the house will be repossessed. Like, I don't know. Like, what do
Yeah,
you do?
you keep going, like
Hmm.
you don't have any other choice. And I gosh, I want to with both of your children, obviously, like I want to pay tribute to them. And it sounds like both of them endured a lot of suffering, but
Hmm.
yet they what I find really just strong in the way that you're talking about both of them is like your constant fight for them, to give
Hmm.
them resources. And again, like especially with addiction and all of that, that's always challenging. So I just I again, I want to just commend you for your strength as a mother, and again for just being able to open up and like share your story. It's very
Thank
much appreciated.
I remember Kyler saying, he's like, Mom, you're the mom of all my friends' moms who tried the hardest to get them to stop using. Most of them gave up.
Oh, you just never stop trying, you
No,
know?
no, I was like, I can, but that's just how I am, I guess.
You
I
are.
I can do this. Like, I will save you. I know obviously it wasn't possible, but in my brain, that's how I was thinking during that.
Yes. Yes. Well, and on a light note, I would love to, when you think about both of your kids, you had mentioned that your daughter was sounds like heart of gold, always thinking of others. And
Hmm.
what are the things when you look back that like when you remember them, what are the things that you loved about each of them?
Kyler was also he was very empathetic. I remember when he was at like the rehab hospital, they said, your son cares about others and he's kind in a way that can't be taught. Like that's just who he is. They were both like that.
Yeah.
Um, and they were both really smart. and they were both really funny.
Mm,
Yeah, they were gems. And then, you know, people have reached out, like, because of Kyler's addiction, he did some not nice things. And,
sure.
but people like his old friends, like, have reached out to me and they're like, I'm so sorry. They're like, I knew Kyler. And when people were mean to me, he was kind to me. And, like, even, you know, this year I've had people reach out to me about things like that. So I know that, they're angels, like, and I believe that I was their mother for a reason, and I want to share my story because, like, there's life is so hard, and like, even though these kids were struggling so much, they still found like joy and were kind
Mm-hmm. Yes, and please, yeah, it's, oh, yeah.
and funny.
No, it's I can see where
Like,
they
I
get
don't
the
have
humor
birds down or
from you.
just laughing our asses off like most people. That would be like, oh no, my life is over. We're just like, oh well, what do we do now?
Yes, honestly, that's what I'm getting chills right now, and I can't wait to tell Jade about this too because Jade is like that too. Like something bad will be happening, she's like, "Well, welcome to my life," and like I'm like, "Wow, she's okay. I think she's like making a joke." I'm like, "No, she is." And then as I've now I know her much better, and she's one of
Yeah,
like my closest friends. I'm like, "Oh yeah, she always finds it. She always figures it out, but nothing will get that girl down. Like
yeah,
she'll have a moment, but then she's like, "All right, so let's go. What are we gonna do? Let's fix it."
exactly. And that's what they were both like. Like Mackenzie would be like having emergency surgery and be like cracking jokes, right?
Oh,
Yeah. And Kyler, same with his like addiction or whatever. Like he would joke about it,
yeah,
and I actually do have a granddaughter, which is another sad part of my story. So Kyler had knocked a chick up during the pandemic, and he was actually sober. And here, when it was the pandemic, they had like these shelters for the homeless
yeah,
and had food. He said they had lots of food, but they had an apartment, so they didn't need to stay at the shelter. So, but he would, because she was pregnant, he would take the bus to this shelter and like load up all this food and bring it back for her so she could eat. And then I think what happened was her mom, who's a psychiatrist, had said, if you, I'll give you $10,000 if you leave Kyler. So they kind of, you know, in the middle of the pandemic, just like he came to the apartment one day and they were packing it up and we're like, see, you're fucked. Like, she's coming home. We're going to raise the baby. And now you're homeless again. So she did have the baby and she would be about 4 now, I think. And then I've reached out and they won't, yeah.
that's that's challenging. That's hard.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Oh,
but here I am, still smiling, still helping people.
you are. I think I not. I think I agree with what your daughter how she described you. You're like a warrior princess. Like you. And that doesn't mean, as I'm learning through talking to so many people, that doesn't mean that like you don't have your moments where you're brought to your knees,
Yeah.
and you have been. And I I'm like marvel at your strength and your willingness to just I mean, I your pain is seen, and I just hope that you feel like support from friends, family, community, like online community, like these
Yeah.
connections. Like I really feel that you don't have to know someone for a long time to be able to connect and support
Yeah.
are even like because people listening to this have lost people are losing people are coping. And so part of what you're doing, you're actually a grief recovery specialist.
Hmm.
So tell me about that.
Well, I started it actually after I lost my father.
Okay.
'Cause I was like, something needs to come of this. Something good needs to come of this, because otherwise, why did this happen? So
Yes.
then I got trained up to do it. And then I was starting to do it. And then I actually slipped on the ice at work and gave myself a super bad concussion and was like unable to function for a couple months.
Like
So,
literally that. Wow.
yeah, like literally. So then I got put on, because I was actually going to start doing groups. Like I had a gig set up and I was going to be doing grief recovery groups, and then I fell, hit my head, had a really bad concussion,
Oh
and
my
then Kyler died, and then I was like, oh, I'm not really ready yet.
God.
So so now I'm ready. So yeah, but I mean, I found I did a lot of therapy, and that grief recovery method is I really liked it because it, like, once you learn how to do it, you can just do it on your own. It's like a tool. Like,
Sure.
it's not like, I don't want to create dependency, because like people shouldn't need therapy forever, but
Yeah.
it's more like we're going to share this valuable tool so that you can cope with things on your own moving on.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Amazing.
Mhm.
Gosh, for your own, as somebody experiencing grief, and you've had a lot of grief in a short period of time.
Mhm.
Boom, boom, boom. I mean, that sounds like it's just, I can imagine that the grief you're going through, I mean, you ultimately know exactly what you're helping your clients through and your group.
Yeah.
You're living it.
Yeah, and like you can still, like, I believe, I mean, not all people believe, but I think they all should. I have a strong belief in the afterlife, and I find that really helpful. So I
Yeah.
do try to share that with people. Like, I have a colleague I work with who lost her son as well, but she's just stuck in that victim mentality and like
Ah,
find any lessons in it. And I just think that's why you're miserable. Like, you, the reason why you're handed these things is so you can grow and learn, not so you can forever like punish yourself. You know
yeah.
what I mean? Like,
It's amazing and beautiful that you are saying that, because I fully believe it. And for somebody like you who has felt the deepest pain, it's really hitting me hard, because like what has happened in your life, you had a choice, and you have a choice every day. Like, you have chosen to make the most of this, help people move forward.
yeah,
But like, you're saying some people who lose people lose children, that they're stuck there.
yeah. And I just think, like, I probably have another 40 years on this earth. Am I just going to choose to experience it being stuck in grief? Or am I choosing to learn from it and grow from it and try and find beauty in life, because I know I'll see them again?
Yeah, absolutely. The faith piece is so huge. Oh, I mean, and what I know, everybody has different levels of faith, but for me, connecting with God through loss, anyone I've lost, has been like ultimately the biggest gift, right?
Yeah.
Now, if somebody listening, like, is saying like, okay, but I feel like if I start to smile again and laugh again, am I not, am I letting that go? Like, how do you explain, or grief, like how do you think about grief when in your own.
Well, I feel like, I know, because with my daughter, she knew she was going. So she wrote me a letter
Yeah.
saying, I want you to be happy. Like, I'm always going to be with you. And so I just think, like, because of my belief that they're still very much alive and they're around, and probably doing more important work than they were doing here, I just feel like they don't want me to be miserable. Like, they don't want that to be my experience on this earth. And I still have, like, I take their anniversaries and their birthdays off, and I have those days and I honor them, and I put make stockings for them at Christmas, and they're still very much part of my life, but that doesn't mean that's my whole life, like.
Mhm. Yes, it's a
So I
great
think
point,
I
because
think it's
they're always a part of your life. Yeah.
like I will never, like, when people ask me how many kids I have, I tell them
I'm
I'm not,
sorry.
you know. Sorry, did you hear me? Yeah, like if they say how many kids, I say I have
Oh
two kids.
yes, I think there was a little delay. You see.
Oh, okay. And then I just, like, they're very much part of my life, but I also, like, I was a young mom, so I was good at that early on, is I still had a life outside of my children. So I continuing to have a life outside of my children, but they're still part of my life.
I think that's a really good way to look at it with grief, like, because whether it's, again, whoever you've lost, right? And I mean, you can only speak to your own experience of if you've been through certain types of loss. There's different, obviously different relationships, but I think we have so many different parts of our life, right? And like, we
Mhm.
are more than just one part of it. And so it's really, I think it's beautiful that your daughter wrote you that letter. Like, what a beautiful thing. And she sounds like she was an amazing person. For a kid to say that to their mother and write that, like,
Mm.
that is such a beautiful gift to give you.
Yeah. Yeah. So I do, I do hold on to that. And I'm good at, I guess it's like anything, like it's just a different part. I have to compartmentalize. Like some people, oh, my marriage is this, my friends are this, my work is this. For me, it's like, oh, my passed on kids are this, my work is this, my life is this. It's part of my life and it will never not be, but it's not my whole life.
Yeah.
And to realize that the purpose of losing, I mean, everyone dies. The purpose of losing people isn't so that you're supposed to be miserable the rest of your life.
Oh, absolutely. And oh gosh, a couple days ago, I just actually interviewed a lady named Nikki, and she is a death doula.
Yeah. Oh, that would be cool. I
Oh,
thought about that actually.
Oh, she was amazing. And I mean, every guest is amazing, and everybody has their own story.
Mm-hmm.
She talks about how death, while it's so difficult and so hard, and even for her, she's like, I'm just because I'm a death doula doesn't mean I've got it like all down. She said, but for her, she's learned death is an invitation to
Mm-hmm.
live more deeply and fully, and like hug more, like be more present in that hug, like it doesn't we're not here to just suffer. It's certainly a part of life is
Yeah.
suffering.
No, for sure. And I do that. I do find that even just with Mackenzie's long illness,
Yeah.
in between the hospital stays, like it was like, oh, you're having a good day. Oh, we're going here. We're doing this. We're enjoying it.
Oh yeah, soak it up, right? I'm
Hmm.
sure.
So I got trained at that, and I continue to do that.
Yeah, the gift of I mean, it's like we all know that we're immortal or mortal, right? We know we're mortal as far as like on this earth, but yet we
Mm-hmm.
forget and we stress about the things that ultimately don't matter. And then when you
Hmm.
go through this adversity and you lose people, and I again can't even imagine because I have not been in your shoes. And so I just want to, again, like, just, I think when you lose a child and you've any, any, any type of loss like that, I'm sure it's comforting to know that you really leaned into those moments with her, right? And that you did everything you could with your son. Like, it's like
Good. He
that
would be out.
mother's love, right?
Yeah, he'd be homeless on the street, and I'd say, okay, well, I don't feel safe with you coming home, but I will take you for a haircut and a nice lunch and get you some food.
What they say
Yeah.
like you have to have those boundaries, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I know we talked about, oh, you are definitely a giver and like a lover. So um it's you have to in life kind of like establish these boundaries of like what you can give and what you can, because people have to ultimately like learn to they have to take ownership, right? And like it's just such a you had mentioned that you had been in some relationship with narcissists, and I think they often prey upon that
Yeah.
giving nature and that light. They love the light.
Hmm. Yeah, they sure do.
Sure do, and they love to dim it.
Yeah, but I've learned my lesson. Like I can spot one from a mile away now.
Oh, it's like now you're like, how did I not see that?
No, exactly.
But you just don't know what you don't.
Yeah. Now I know.
You can't. You can't.
Hmm.
Absolutely. No, sorry. I think there's like a little bit of a delay if I interrupted you. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Um, No, gosh. Um, Now are you in your current, role, are you doing do you do group therapy? Do you do one-on-one? Like what are the different services that you offer?
Well, I have a day job. So my day job is I do children's mental health crisis and all that. But like for my grief stuff, I do like I prefer to do one-on-one and like a virtual format. That's my preference. So that's what I'm doing.
That's that's awesome. That's such a, oh, sorry, it's cutting out a little bit.
Hmm.
Sorry about that. I don't know. I think my now you can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. There we go. Okay, cool. A little internet there. So you okay, so you work during the day, you help with children's mental health.
Yeah.
That's fantastic and so needed. And then so if anybody is looking for support in grief, in at all things surrounding grief, you do one-on-one
Yeah.
therapy.
Yeah. Yeah. So virtually.
That is
So
awesome.
mhm.
Yeah. So anyone that's tuning in here, if you're struggling with grief, I know we all go through grief at different times. It's definitely something that you do not have to navigate alone. I think that, in fact, often makes it worse when you don't have any resources to kind of guide you through it, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Adrienne, I don't want to miss talking about your book, which I'm putting a link down in the show notes. Can you talk all about that for people who are interested in reading your story?
Sure. So my book is called The Almost Miracle Years. It's available on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Kobo, and Lulu. It is a memoir. So the first half of the book, it's kind of a mixture of my mom. The first time Mackenzie was sick, my mom kept a journal. So it's kind of like going back and forth between my experience and my mom's journal. And the second half is kind of like the rest of the shitstorm. And then the end is very the feedback I've had is it's very inspirational and provides hope, and it's very positive. It's not like, oh, poor me. It's more like, this is what I learned, and I will always love my kids, and I will see them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, that's beautiful. I love that. I love that it's for anyone, gosh, I'm sure somebody listening knows someone or maybe has, a child battling an illness, like to be able to get insight into what it's really like and is going to be really helpful for people. And also just, I think hearing you and getting to know you in this hour, you are obviously focused on the future and you're not sitting, you have your days, of course, like you're a human being and you're a mother. But I think it's beautiful that you have a real strength about you. Like there's an energy, and I can, like,
Hmm.
there's no keeping you down. You can tell that. Like you figure out, you've seen a lot of adversity.
Yeah. Yeah, I have.
Have, and look at, you're still here and you're helping people in both of your jobs,
Yeah.
kids and people recovering from grief. Like that, I that is a life that I think you should be incredibly proud of given everything you've gone through.
Yeah. Yeah, I am. And sometimes people say, when I feel sad, I just think of your life, and then I can't feel sad anymore.
Well, you're like, you have such a, like, you're writing the book and then helping others. You've obviously learned through life and decided that your life is not going to be defined by like the losses and the heavy, which of course they're always with you, they're here with you.
Hmm.
But like your daughter said, she's loving that you're keeping your head up and that you're, look at, coming out here and talking about her and talking about the good memories. And I hope both of them are looking down here and just being like, that's my mom, that's my mom,
I'm
she's
pretty
always,
sure they
yeah.
are.
They're like, "What's up, mom?" No, I just when I get the full body chills, I'm like, okay, yeah, I think God
Yeah,
might be working in the room, you know?
yeah.
Um, well, Adrienne, I wanted to first welcome you. I should have welcomed you from the beginning to the Adventures in Adversity family. It's like a family of guests that I honor and I'm so grateful. Anytime anyone opens up and shares their story, and a beautiful tribute to your son and your daughter and your dad and your grandpa, all the people that you have, hey, had to say goodbye to, but are, they're here. They're
Sure.
living on through like your beautiful attitude. And thank you. Appreciate you opening up and
Yes.
sharing your story.
Well, thank you for having me on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, guys, look in the show notes, Adrienne's book, her Instagram. If you're going through grief, which I know we all are at different times, send her a message. She can help you through. And again, really honored to have you. And I know that this is going to help people out there.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Adrienne. Take
Okay.
care.
Yeah. Okay. Bye.